just the idea of the history of memes and how that can tap into ledger, like having an asset on the ledger, and then can the community fork them into new versions? Now you have a parent meme and the children meme, child meme, and eventually we'll figure out royalties where the original content creator gets a piece of the royalty that then is spanning out across this ecosystem they've created. And when new memes become entirely, like, there could be just a very small piece of the original meme that continues on to become a new meme, so that legacy can really snowball.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Together, we're going to chat about tokenization of memes, and actually how do we actually extract the value of memes. Today, we have a panel of specialists on the topic. We've got Sid from Roll, Connie Digital, who's a digital artist. We have Marguerite from Blockade Games, and we've got Johan from Marble Cards. So thanks everyone for joining me today. It's a very exciting panel. Memes are something that's fairly recent, but also not very recent. It's basically the means of communications for the internet, and the means of communication since the early 90s. But their significance has actually improved quite significantly in the past 5 years. With technological improvements like fast broadband and smartphone, people could send memes, GIFs, and emojis very easily. And now we're pretty much at the point where memes have grown to that point where they're setting trends and they're moving multi-billion-dollar markets. So at its essence, memes are the ultimate internet folklore. So they initiate in private WhatsApp groups and Discord servers, and then make their way to popularity through 4chan, Reddit, and when you see them on Instagram and Facebook, this is where they are already viral. So there's over 2 million unique memes, 160 million derivative memes out there. Memes are obvious market movers at the same time. We've seen this with Tesla, we've seen this with GME, we're seeing this in crypto quite a lot. Everybody knows memes, but a lot of people create them, a lot of people reuse them. But then at the same time, we don't actually have a way to effectively monetize them. And there's no real way to capture that early trend. So this is what we're actually going to talk about today, and how do we actually tokenize the value, and how do we actually start making money from these memes. So you, together with me, Anna, I'm investment manager at Outlier Ventures. I take care of our earlier stage investments, and then also make sure everybody gets funded after the Basecamp program. I work quite extensively with our cohorts, including with Marble Cards. Guys, you want to take like a minute to introduce yourselves? Johan, let's start from you.
Sure. I'm Johan, co-founder of Marble Cards. Briefly about me, I've started companies in publishing and advertising since school. Basically, Marble is my third company. I'm really interested in content consumption and how people engage with things on the internet and how they spread them and so on. And happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Sid, do you want to take us away?
Yeah, hey everyone. This is Sid. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Roll. So we are building infrastructure for creators to mint, distribute, and reward social money to their communities across platforms. And we can then plug these into emerging Web3 primitives like the DeFi stack, for example. Yeah, the idea of memes is generally like pretty close to our heart and what we do. So for us, like when we look at online communities, you can see them as digital nations, right? And then memes bring in like a shared language to this nation. And the social money side we are building, we think like kind of breathes economic life into it. So we see that as very, very complementary to each other.
Marguerite, let's go next.
Yeah, hi guys. Oh, I'm getting feedback. So I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback. So there we go. Anyways, I'm the CEO of Blockade Games, and I am excited to be here. I don't know why I'm getting feedback. Everybody's muted. This is very strange.
Don't worry. Just try to restart your headphones. Could be this. Yeah. Cool, Connie. You're next.
Hi, thank you. Pleasure to be here. Yeah, so my name is Connie Digital. I am a creator and a artist in the Web3 space. I've been around crypto for about 8 years now. Back in 2014, I used to write for various crypto publications, including Cointelegraph. 2017, I started to learn about CryptoKitties and the ERC 721 NFT standard and kind of jumped in as a collector. Fast forward to 2018, 2019, I began tokenizing my creativity on the Wax and Ethereum blockchain. So yeah, I think this topic is super important. I believe that tokenizing memes basically allows for creators to express themselves in a way where provenance and attribution and monetization is baked directly into their ideas. And that is very exciting to me, and I'm looking forward to talking more about it.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to have you here. It's basically, as someone said in the chat, it's full of OGs here. So yeah, Sid, I guess we'll start from you on the topic of community. Like, what do you see as the opportunity for people to actually work together and extract the value of memes? Like, is the value in the community effort and the curation, or is it more on the speculation to gauge these trends, and then once hype dies down, onto the next meme?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start with setting the stage a bit, right? There's a sense of inherent value to memes, which is exactly why people use them in the first place. But as of today, that value is usually not tangible or fungible. It's kind of almost a nebulous social capital that you get, let's say, like within a community where you're using them, or as a creator of a meme, right? So really the concept of like even ownership over a work, as Connie just mentioned, like things like provenance, for example, that's very important in like a meme context because it's very derivative work that's built off of like other people's works. So things like that don't really exist per se. But we are starting to see some of that really change, and some of that value that can be extracted from the creator and the meme, right? And going back to the concept of ownership, I don't think it was practically feasible before crypto really came about with that ideas. So we are seeing that already with some of the more recent NFT sales, where again the value is kind of coming from owning a unique signed piece from the creator of a meme, for example. And yeah, like over time, like tools like social money, tools like meme markets that Marble Cards is building, I think will really help people to, like one, you want that concept of ownership, but two, also to like speculate on the value of memes, because I guess like that's also like the cultural value that they embody pretty naturally. And I think like this can really help form stronger communities around a specific meme as well.
Yeah, thank you. I guess more popular meme trends like Pepe and Doge, I guess they have their own little communities. And I've seen, like, for example, the Fin meme community, which is like the financial memes. They're really focusing on these 2 or 3 templates that there are, and then at the same time they curate their own. So that's pretty interesting to see how things are evolving, especially in these niche specialized communities. And eventually they create like their own markets for it. They just don't realize it. They start selling merchandise. They start selling even some sort of like art as well. Someone managed to sell like some physical art as well, based on all the inside jokes they develop with their community. So all these trends are quite interesting, especially when it comes to like social tokens as well. Connie, you're the OG of social tokens and tokenized art. Like, as a creator, where do you see the value of the memes for the niche communities? Like, do you think this can be one of the major strategies for your community, or is something that you keep on the side?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? So for me, I personally use memes like on social media and through messaging apps, right? Like Twitter and Discord. And I love memes, right, for their humor, but I also love them for their nostalgia, right? So as you said, memes are like inside jokes, they're stories, they're essentially memories that can trade on sentimental value, which I think is super powerful, right? So regarding like a community strategy that you mentioned, you can possibly imagine something where the community could fractionalize ownership of a meme, right? Whereby the token holders get exclusive permission to actually use the meme to generate content, right? So then this content spreads person to person, and as it goes viral, the value should accrue back to the token holders who actually are participating in this particular meme. So a sort of strategy like that. Something more like a meme factory also, who's a current product in the market right now, where a community members, they create a meme, and then other members of the community curate and they vote on which ones they think are the best. And then those that pass that stage enter the marketplace as an NFT and can be bought and sold. So I think there's various ways you can strategize around tokenized memes, all of which I just said is probably just scratching the surface. So I think this is a wide open, fascinating space for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I couldn't find the mute button. Definitely, I quite like how you mentioned that like social tokens and memes are kind of like melting into not the same single pod, but they're kind of like they are converging together. So Sid, with Row, are you seeing some of these things happening as well for the platform, like people creating social tokens for like specific memes, or they try to like memify their entire personality and identity?
Yeah, so like Hugh obviously was one of our big breakout social money when that came out. We were very happy with some of the early experiments that people like Connie were doing. So one thing kind of related to, I guess, like what Connie was mentioning was, with Roll, one of the things that's good with that is you can also, I guess, like more natively form communities around a specific social money. So then this idea of, being able to, let's say, like hold a specific amount of social money to be able to then access certain discussions that are more, let's say, like within the core group of community and creators, as opposed to being everything public. Things like collaborations as well, which, let's say, like between different meme creators, those are like pretty powerful. I don't see that as like cultural primitives, right? Like you can kind of combine in many different interesting ways and literally like move that into the culture forward.
Yeah, definitely. It's an increasing part of the popular culture. So to be fair, I don't think we're too far from seeing someone posing as a meme and being like an expert in their own industry, in more not necessarily the boring industries, but in some of like the bigger industries, there's definitely going to be something along these lines. So thanks for this. Marguerite, I have a very interesting question for you. So you've got a blockchain gaming company, you've deeply embedded in the blockchain gaming community. Like, how do you see memes being impacted in that specific community? Like, do you think there's going to be certain impact driven by the community when it comes to market gamification?
Hey, so I guess to add to what everybody was saying earlier, I think that the monetization opportunities that we're going to have with memes, just the idea of the history of memes and how that can tap into ledger, like having an asset on the ledger, and then can the community fork them into new versions? Now you have a parent meme and the children meme, child meme, and eventually we'll figure out royalties where the original content creator gets a piece of the royalty that then is spanning out across this ecosystem they've created. And when new memes become entirely, like there could be just a very small piece of the original meme that continues on to become a new meme. So that legacy can really snowball. And in gaming, you see people in games that will carry over that culture, whatever's trending at the time. And very easily people will take screenshots of what's happening in game or moments. If we can implement a way to drop capturing gameplay as moments, almost like how NBA Top Shots has their moment system, but you can do this directly in gaming applications. And then people able to distribute and monetize with royalties going back to everybody that was involved in that creation process, but also tapping into the meme culture at the same time. So merging all of these different medias across social platforms, how people can easily pick them up and consume them and share them. these are all tools that I think right now people are building. I think a lot of what we were doing before was all very heavy infrastructure, and now NFTs unlocked like application experiment, like all of us experimenting with applications and NFTs as a media, but we're missing kind of that middleware piece still that bridges that deeper infrastructure and what's possible with blockchain assets and the content creation and media exploration. So I think that's the section right now that a lot of us, especially us at Blockade, are thinking about. How do you give these tools to users so that they can better be collaborative and social? Because that is what drives engagement and retention across your entire ecosystem as a product.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually quite interesting. I guess the gaming community is quite embedded into that deep meme culture, as you say. Like people take screenshots and turn them into memes, and then they start sharing it with each other. It'll be quite interesting to see, like, if we start financializing this entire trend, how things will work out. You mentioned NBA Top Shot. Have you seen anything similar for the gaming world?
Not yet. I think that's coming though. I think that NBA Top Shots really did introduce a strong idea of moments as an ability, something to monetize across numerous brands, like any brand. If you have IP whatsoever, being a content creator, social influencer, a gamer, you have an IP that you can monetize and have the ability to have moments, but it's going to be the software. Basically, are you familiar with like Twitch and how you can cut clips when you're watching someone stream? I don't think it's going to be very long before we start seeing people introduce that ability for people to cut moments in real time and have a drop. The drops as a service platform, I think across the industry, we can all see that it's bottlenecked. As everyone from Nifty Gateway, you're seeing people like Bitski, who was originally a wallet software like product, is now moving into the drops as a service space. It's because there's so much demand and people are asking for help. How can I make these drops in moments? And so in gaming applications, as long as we can have this sort of back-end implementation that can connect across numerous different platforms, I think the drops as a service is going to be quite big. But I haven't seen it yet. And I think that we'll see, just like we're seeing a lot of the platforms, the marketplace platforms, I think we're going to see the same thing for lots of these like more nuanced experiences.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And then I guess with the nuanced experiences in the niche communities, like every game is its own niche. Digital, every influencer's community is a niche community. Do you reckon we're going to see like products that's, for example, market based, so gaming versus influencers, or do you think it's going to be like pure niche? Like, for example, you have League of Legends memes, World of Warcraft, and then you have separate influencers, and then I guess someone will aggregate everything.
Well, just like you have NBA Top Shots is very hyper concentrated. I mean, it's only NBA Top Shots. You're going to be people, and if we're starting from the game application layer or that sort of layer for the consumer facing product, they're going to focus on that immediate product. And then how do you get to the secondary market from there? It's pretty much going to be how it is right now with, for example, a Neon District or game, when you're handling your inventory, it's all Neon District. But then to be able to move over to the OpenSea Matic like marketplace, now you're participating in the wider ecosystem. I think you're going to see a lot of different versions, but the walled garden for memes is a thing that's not going to happen. Memes will live where the collaboration is inspired, and anyone that wants to create a walled garden experience for memeing is like, you can't do that. So the users will just build around it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, walled gardens, they're not even working now, and you have the big social media platforms trying to build it like this, but then you have people downloading the TikTok videos, uploading them to Instagram, and then using the Instagram Reels, going on Twitter. There's a lot of cross-pollination, I guess, where people trying to use up their communities like as much as possible and utilize this. So there's definitely different trends, and there's interesting. It's an interesting way to track how these trends are created, because right now most of the advertising is focused on social media, but by the time some of the memes and some of these movements hit up I guess, more like bigger social media like Instagram and TikTok, the memes already, like the trend is already at its peak. So advertisers are kind of riding like a very short-term trend, and they have a very small window of opportunity. Johan, you've been talking about, especially with marble cards, you've been talking about the financialization of memes and monetization of it, so that advertisers can actually foresee, and not just advertisers, but mostly people interested in this, foresee trends. Like, what do you see for the next 5 to 10 years in the industry?
I think it's just going to keep growing. We're already seeing a few examples where early meme creators like Nyan Cat and Bad Luck Brian and a couple of others selling like the original art piece of the meme for a lot of money. So that is one side of it. You have one creator, which then spun out to have a bunch of remixes and so on, but where the original creator is the one who monetizes. Then you have the other side, which I think is the most interesting one, is where if you take Nyan Cat again as an example, what was sold for 300 ETH or something on Foundation was the original art, where what makes it an actual meme are all the remixes and all the people helping spread it and tell the story and keep it alive. How do you get those people in on the action financially, basically, and credibility wise? That I think is really interesting. And that I think, the meme economy, basically people, quote unquote, will work telling stories, creating memes, spreading memes, and being compensated for it if they are good enough at discovering trends early and good enough at telling the stories and sharing them. So I think there we will see a lot of developments in the future. 5 to 10 years from now, I would guess you will have a profession, basically, professional memer, meme creator, whatever you want to call it, where you're both working for the internet, creating memes for the internet, but also maybe tapping into corporate side where companies want to help with, their mimetic strategy and get their word out and telling stories. Because a meme is basically, when you create a successful meme, it is when people see something, the first impression of a thing, they revert back to the meme they have in their minds for that thing. And so I think being able to tell the stories in that way, that will be the key. And if you're somehow able to financialize that and allow people to really focus on that and tell those stories, then I think people will just get better and better, and it will just get more and more interesting as we go along.
Yeah, definitely. I know you with marble cards, you had some early experiments around this, especially with the cards. Like, you've been doing this for a long time now, for a couple of years, and then you've been testing some stuff on Discord. The OG community will know what we're talking about. So with this, do you see like financialization of memes kind of changing the incentives, or do you still think people just create memes for things they enjoy, and then find like monetization comes next and always comes second?
I think authenticity and things being genuine is what makes them spread, right? So when things are financialized, likely there will be a lot more competition and there will be a lot more less good memes, but that's already the case. I think when money is on the table, interest grows, and with added interest, added brain power, the quality goes up. So I would expect, some people might not like it, like the OG meme community, like the really OG meme community might not like some of the developments, but I definitely think it is the way to go to get more people in on memes. Because if you ask the general public, they don't know what the word meme means, but they know that, there's these silly images they see online and sometimes think it's funny, but they don't really think about the thing is basically, it's cultural artifacts in the end. It's what tell the human story in the end. And so having a way to quantify those things and to be able to go in and say, okay, here you have the different stories that are currently trending, and to be able to draw upon that and create your own iterations, to have like this unified market for those things, I think will be super interesting. We started with the cards. we in the Marble community, we know all about memes. We know every meme pretty much, because people are, once they've marbled something, they shill it, they tell the story. Even though they don't own the meme, they own some kind of mimetic value representation of the thing, and so in a way they get skin in the game and then promote it in that way. And so yeah, we're just getting started in that area, but I think there will be a lot of interesting things going on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, monetizing memes is definitely, well, when you add money to the equation, it's actually quite fun, because I don't know who said this, but I've heard it recently. Someone said like money doesn't change you, it just amplifies your personality and amplifies what you normally do. So it'll be quite interesting to see like how the entire community reacts and changes. And then another quite interesting thing you mentioned was actually about the historical value and memes tracking like kind of like history of the internet. I guess pairing this with what Marguerite said about these communities, you can build walled gardens, but then at the same time you have like an aggregate with very niche opportunities. It'll be quite fun to see someone actually focusing on the history of memes. that'll be definitely quite interesting. I guess we've got 5 minutes to fireside chat. So one last question from me is basically was like, what's everybody's outlook on memes for the next like couple of years? What's the near future?
Bullish.
Yeah. Something that you guys were talking about just a minute ago, the social, like I think soon we're going to be we see this already with some other platforms, remixing platforms where you can buy directly from social media feeds. So an Instagrammer can there's a project called With Koji is just one example where you make a remix and it has that sort of like ledger of the meme process creation, and you can buy it with cash just right off of someone's Instagram feed I think it's just like a web plugin or something that allows them to do that. But I think that is we're going to see that with NFTs. Imagine being on these major Twitter influencer streams, or like a musical artist or anybody being able to produce this content so quickly, and then people being able to fork that content and create new content, and it's just flooding the internet and all the social channels. I don't know if we have enough money to support this new economy.
Yeah, definitely. That's quite interesting to hear. Sid, you wanted to say something as well, to add something to that?
Oh no, I think it's just that's it's a cultural primitive. Like I think so when you talk about the internet generally, it's amplifying a lot of things you are able to do culturally. You're able to kind of drops down like geographic boundaries, for example. So I think like memes are just a very condensed representation of human thought, and that's only going to spread as the internet spreads.
Yeah, definitely. Hyper localization, hyper personalization. Internet is a very weird place. It's hyper localized, but at the same time you can connect with people like on the other side of the world and based on very niche interests. So I guess there's like certain vertical split, and then there's like a horizontal split as well. So it'll be quite interesting to see how these things will be sorted out at the end. It's up to the community. The best thing is it's up to the community to keep going and to keep building. So thanks for joining us today, guys. Just to recap, we're talking about how memes will impacting communities nowadays, what people are doing, how memes will impact communities in the future. Social tokens are definitely on the cards. People are definitely using memes more and more to keep the audience engaged, but also to create value around the community. And as we're growing more and we're adding more monetary incentives to memes, there's going to be certain niches forming. So as Marguerite said, NBA Top Shots is very focused on the NBA Top Shots, on the one thing they're very good at. So we're going to see a lot more products like this in the future. And then as we add more and more monetary incentives, the OG community may or may not be happy how things are forming, but it's up to us to build a better next iteration of the internet, including metaverses, including how we monetize memes. So thanks everybody for joining us.